Vichy Man Productions here with a review of a very large bust that was received a couple of weeks ago. Been waiting on this one for quite some time, being a huge Predator fan. Actually, most of my statues consist of Batman, Predator, and Aliens, and that is the, I guess, most of the statues that I have, with a bunch of other stuff mixed in. This is something that I think a lot of people were waiting for. Company called Coolprops, which I believe is from Japan. I'm not 100% sure, but they've gotten the license to Aliens, and they've gotten the license to Predator, and they're coming up with some pretty cool stuff. There's been booths, I believe, at Comic-Con and various other events, geek events around the world where they've turned up and they've showed off some of the alien busts. I have not pulled the trigger on any of those life-size alien busts. They've got, I believe, about 4 of them out, including an Alien 3 bust, Alien Resurrection bust, which has that weird kind of alien baby thing. I forgot the name of it, but anyway. So this was the Predator 2 life-size bust from the movie Predator 2, which is the sequel to Schwarzenegger's first film with Danny Glover. And I am personally a huge fan of Predator 2. I know it's been a movie that's been shit on a lot by a lot of people, but I've always thought that Predator 2 was just an action-packed extravaganza. And it really kind of showed a bit more of the mythology behind the Predator character, this alien that came down to Earth to hunt and to kill. And I think it grew upon what John McTiernan did in the first film. So I was always a fan of the second movie, and this bust had to be in my collection. The pictures look great. Some of the production photos were great. There's been a lot of complaints about this thing not weighing enough. I've seen video reviews of it, but as you can see, it's a nice looking bust. I mean, the sculpt itself is fantastic. And I've got, pretty much the same gripes that everyone else has had on this, too much drool or pee coming down his mouth, which is what it looks like here. A bit of a crooked tooth. That was one of the main issues that I was hearing about, but he can't have perfect teeth. I mean, he doesn't go to the orthodontist, he doesn't go to the dentist, so I mean, having a tooth that's a little bit crooked on the side is not a big deal. A little bit too much drool. And now, with all these lights that we have in here shining on this thing, you can really see some of the issues with the paint. I think the paint is definitely not on the level of ECC, Cinemaquette. It's definitely not at that level, but at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. And this is a, I believe, $1,100 US life-size bust, and for that price, I think you're getting a Predator 2 bust. It's a very imposing bust. It's huge. This part of the bust is probably, again, just like everyone else has said, is the best part of this thing. It really, it sticks out. The teeth are great. I think there's some kind of, translucent resin possibly here. The mouth is great. You've got the big open mouth. The dreads are a problem for me, like everyone else. They're all stuck together. It would have been nice if they were separated. But again, that would have added to cost. And again, I'm not someone that knows how much any of this stuff costs, but there's probably a reason why these things were done. I think the dreads meeting the skin part of the bust are done in an extremely sloppy way. You can see the paint lines around the edges. But what I wanted is a Predator 2 bust, and I got one. And it does look like Predator 2. I think the best way to view this thing, again, is from a distance of about, if you're about 3-4 feet away from this thing, it looks imposing and it looks like a Predator. If you're a huge statue collector and you start walking close to it, you start dissecting all the intricacies of this thing, you'll find abnormalities in the statue, and you'll find that it does have imperfections. But again, it's a $1,000 bust. It's not a $3,000 bust, so you get what you pay for. So I am happy with the bust. I am not going to return it, but I think it could have been a little bit better. So I would say that this is a 80% happiness for me, whereas you know, a bust by let's say Cinemaquette, like let's say the Lycan bust, for example, I'm 100% happy because it's just perfect. There is not a flaw in that bust. Okay, there's just too many flaws in this thing to make me 100% satisfied. But again, I'm willing to forgive because it's a Predator license. Cool Props, distributed by Sideshow Collectibles. And please like my channel if you like this review, and we will do more.